Hello and welcome back to another edition of Eternal Evolution with Akbar the Buffmaster. Today we are looking at Jaxidi, and we're going to look at his kit and how to build him. Okay, so if this is the type of information you'd like to see in your Eternal Evolution videos, make sure to hit the like and subscribe and follow me on YouTube. Okay, let's get into this man. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is take a look at this kit of Mr. Jax, and there are a couple of interesting things that we're going to look at. Now, his ultimate, again, we're thinking about gearing and what we learned from gearing in team comps just by reading his skills. Okay, we can predict a lot of things, although to be 100% sure, we need to wait for the actual hero release, which is tomorrow. At the time of recording this, it is Wednesday. Okay, this is why we're reading the skills list, but we can still learn a lot here. So, from the ultimate skill, it says that Jaxidi summons a whirlpool at the selected location. Think Sorvely or uh, Anariba or Anaruba, whatever his name is, dealing damage to all targets in the area. And notice has a probability to throw targets into the center of the whirlpool. So looking at this part of the skill, whenever you see probability or a chance, this always requires accuracy. I imagine that this skill has about a 50% probability or chance to throw targets into the center of the whirlpool. We'll see the significance of that as we progress. Now, it goes on to say, next, Jaxidi summons abysmal swarms at the center of the whirlpool. Abysmal swarms will inherit Jaxidi's attack, defense, and hit points. Abyssal swarms can exist on the battlefield simultaneously. So if he procs multiple ultimates, then the previous ones are going to stay there. It's not that it is replaced. Okay, like think of a Dan or think of an Amont, where you're not going to have two big gators or you're not going to have two big summons on at the same time. Okay, so if you manage to proc the next ultimate while he already has some swarms out there, then they're just going to create more swarms. Now, although it does not say that he cannot crit, we'll see that if it does in the skill or not. We know that his summons do not inherit any crit, right? Only attack, defense, and hit points. So that rules out most likely the possibility or the probability that he's going to be a crit-based summoner. Okay, so we can pretty much assume he's going to need accuracy in that he's not going to use crit rate. The talent effect is important as we go along when we think about team building. At the start of the battle, if there are Atlas heroes in the squad, then summon extra abysmal swarms. And how many extra swarms would there be? We'll have to wait until tomorrow. I imagine perhaps a maximum amount, but perhaps one for every Atlas hero or additional Atlas hero. Okay, if we go on to the common skill, Jaxidi in Abyssal Swarms simultaneously gain a water shield equal to the percentage of their max HP. So here we learned that he is going to be HP based, not attack based. And the water shield stops nearby enemy charges. This is why everyone and their mama is saying he's anti Vanguard. Well, it certainly looks to be that way. But an additional effect, a talent effect, when creating a water shield, there is a chance to bind targets in range. Binding is what Sorali can do if she has enough accuracy. It keeps the enemy immobilized temporarily. Next skill. Jaxidi and Abysmal Swarms simultaneously release a powerful torrent, dealing damage to all enemies in the area equal to a percentage of Jaxidi's max HP. So again, HP based, AoE damaged, but I doubt that he's going to be great in Surge. One, his damage should not be that great. If it is, he's going to be way OP considering the rest of his kit. Um, be, I say that for two reasons. One, his damage should not be that insane. It should be decent, like Dorley or maybe a little bit more, but it shouldn't be over the top. And secondly, it's not just him doing the AoE damage, it's also his swarms who do not, or which do not inherit any crit rate. Okay, so the chance of them critting is going to be extremely low according to what we are reading here. And notice another crowd control effect. Torrent has a chance to stun targets. Now I believe, this is what I believe, the first skill to throw them in the middle of the swarm will be 50% chance. Binding will be about 30% chance. And I think stunning will be between a 15 to 25% chance. That's just my rough estimate. What does this mean? It probably means that the sweet spot is going to be 200% or 200 accuracy. 200 accuracy because that makes that 50% to chance to throw them in the middle of the whirlpool makes that 100%, and it will give you between a 30 to 50% chance to stun during this common skill, similar to a clear, right? Her stun rate is kind of low, but it is there and it's nice for when it goes off. Now, one more thing to take into consideration, which is important when we think about team building, is the Thunder Blessing, his passive. At the beginning of the battle or before activating the ultimate skill, Jandice gains a Thunder Shield, reduces all damage taken. Now, what does this have to do with team building? Because it says if all heroes deployed are Atlas, then at the same time a Thunder Shield will also be given to allied summon heroes. The only Atlas summon heroes are Ampu, uh, I just said her name earlier, the Gator Girl, and Skewer and Hattie. Okay, those are the only ones. Skewer and Hattie previously has been difficult to use in a lot of content because if Hattie dies, so does Skewer. Maybe that Thunder Shield will be enough to keep him alive. Time will tell. Okay, so what does that teach us about what kind of kit should be used, what kind of gear should be used on him, and also what team should we put around him? Let's take a look. Okay, so looking at his kit, there are two builds that stand out to me that are going to be good on Jaxidi. The first is Extraction. Why? Well, first, remember that we want to stack HP, and Extraction gives us a 15% extra HP with the set. It also gives us more survivability. Most likely, he's going to be tanking and being the brunt of the damage for us. And whenever his summons receive any kind of critical damage, then he is going to be healed for a percentage of that damage. So it provides survivability to him being at the front line. Okay, so that is option number one. Option number two that I think could be very viable on this young man is, well, I don't know how old he is. He could be ancient as far as I know, but that is Resonant. Why Resonant? Resonant for a couple of reasons. One, he needs accuracy. Okay, and having the set here gives us that extra 40% accuracy, which perhaps allows us to get away with using an HP helm instead of an accuracy helm. Okay, that's first. Secondly, is the fact that if you have Resonant Tempered, not only is it going to help you get the first ultimate off Suitor, remember a lot of his kit is crowd control, so the Suitor he gets off that first whirlpool and starts controlling and locking down the enemy, the better. But in a tempered resonant set, it helps get off the second ultimate faster also. So the first two ultimate, which are really extremely important in PvP and even some PvE content, this is going to be the set that really gets him jumping off. Okay, so it's either going to be extraction or resonant. It could depend on the situation which of these two gears are going to be the best for him. But as far as builds, because he's going to be up at the front line taking damage, you're going to want him in DR boots, either accuracy or HP helmet, depending on if you can get enough accuracy in your build or not with substats, and HP percentage gloves. I didn't want to come here yet. Okay, so again, I mentioned that I think the sweet spot is going to be 200% accuracy. Now we'll have to wait to confirm that until tomorrow and with playtesting, but by reading his kit, that sounds like the reasonable expectation. There's a small chance it could be 150, but I really believe that it's going to be 200. So this is a possible build for him. If you go with Resonant, then it's going to be similar to like a Fiona or a Purin. Okay, so think about how you build those two heroes. It is going to be virtually identical for Jaxidi if you go with Resonant. Now, those are the builds. Now let's get into the team comp, which you kind of caught a glimpse of. I have this recorded because I'm stupid and I recorded a video twice, but I didn't have my microphone turned on. So anyhow, it is what it is. So I think this is going to be the dream setup day one. Now playtesting could show some other matchups, but I think this is going to be beautiful. I wanted Anaruba to work. Someday Anaruba is going to be amazing when awakened. But even with Resonant Gear, he takes so long to get his first ultimate off that I just don't see him being viable. In my head, I was thinking Jaxidi sends out a Whirlpool to lock him down, and Aruba throws out a Whirlpool, Jaxidi his second Whirlpool, and no one is going anywhere. That's what played around in my head. But testing and Aruba a little bit today, that first ultimate just takes so long to get off. Other people are doing two or even three ultimates by the time Anaruba does one, and that's even a resonant gear. So uh, in this case, Anaruba is the placeholder for Jax, not on the team, but the placeholder. Okay, so the team is going to be Zane, Jax, Maz, Ampu, Amat, and Tech. Okay, so why Zane and why Tech in this lineup? Remember that if you have all Atlas heroes, then your Atlas summon heroes get a Thunder Shield. Okay, so this is important. This provides survivability to Amat in Ampu. Now, as I mentioned, if there's a small chance that that Thunder Shield gives enough survivability to Hattie so she doesn't die when she's in the mix of things and also kills Skewer, then that could be wonderful. But you have to kind of play test with that. This is a safe bet right here. So Zane, because one, Zane helps with controlling the enemies with his taunt, going back and forth and taunting everyone. But also because he amplifies damage for other Atlas heroes. Okay, so he's going to amplify uh, Jax's, Ampu's, Tech's, and Amat's damage. That's pretty amazing, right? From being in there. And why is Tech in here? Well, if we look at Tech's build here, in Tech, remember that everyone gets a Thunder Shield. And if we look at this build with Tech, it says first, for every time that an Atlas hero does their ultimate, then it adds one layer of these arcane marks, which is going to amp up Tech's damage. So cohesion there. Zane amplifies his damage. Tech is being amplified by having multiple ultimates go off from Atlas heroes. But then if we go to the next skill here, and this is where things get a little extra juicy. Okay, let's skip to the common. Okay, in the common skill, well, come on now. It says talent effect. While Thunder Shield is active, deals damage to targets around equal to percentage of Tech's attack. But notice here, Ruin Blast Enhancement. All allies with Thunder Shield can trigger an explosion. Who's going to have a Thunder Shield? Tech? Zane? Zane provides his own Thunder Shield. Uh, Zach? Or Zach. Uh, yeah, the new guy. Jax. Ample and Amat. Basically everyone except Maz is going to have a Thunder Shield. So lots of explosions. So it's just a lot of cohesion between these heroes. Okay, each one pumping the other one up. So I think this is going to be an absolutely mind-blowing team going day one. Time will tell if there are other great comps to put it with. Okay, so that's what I'm thinking as far as team comps. I don't have all these heroes built, so I won't be able to play test them. But Benzo and others will. I can send some screenshots with time, or you will see on other people's YouTube's channels after playtesting is available, like with Red and other ones. Okay, so conclusions. I think this dude is going to be amazing. Hopefully his damage isn't too high, isn't too much more than Dorley because he will be OP. He has amazing crowd control. He has, it seems in his kit, he's going to have nice survivability. He's going to add really nice synergy with other uh, Atlas heroes, making it just a strong comp within themselves. So I think this guy is EX30 right away worthy. By the way, if we look at his EX30, okay, so by the way, his EX30 is when Jaxidi is present on the battlefield, the damage of all summoner heroes is increased. Okay, so just extra synergy with Amat and Ampu. Daniel maybe will fit into this, but if you put in Daniel, then you're going to take away those Thunder Shields away from Amat and Anpu. So the EE is trying to get us to go with these different comps to mix classes and use factions more and more. All right, so I see in the future something with Daniel, Dorley, uh, Sif, and some other Terran options mixed in there. Okay, so that's going to do it for me. This guy is going to be mind blowing. However, you don't have to pull him day one. Remember, this is in a twilight cycle, so there is no endless battle. There are no bonus points for having the new hero right away. If you pull him week two, it's just as good as pulling him week one, unless you are super competitive in PvP and you want to get him EX30 right away. Okay, that's going to be it for me, guys. I hope you guys liked the video. Remember to like these videos, subscribe, help me out. Until next time, my friends. Ciao for now.